Welcome guys to Driveway Journey, where I'm all about us moving from our first keys all the way to our dream driveways. And you find me driving on the highway to get coffee from one of my favorite coffee shops, Dom's Coffee in Avon, Connecticut. Phenomenal coffee shop. Love that place. So we're on our way to get a coffee. And the reason I'm really just making this video getting a coffee is because we're going to be talking about whether this car with the manual transmission is better for dailying compared to the DCT. Which one is better? So let's talk about the numbers that this car has. 365 horsepower in the BMW M2. This is the non-competition OG M2. And this car has plenty of power for the street. This thing lives best and most happily on windy, twisty back roads. That is what this car is really designed for. That's where it performs best at. So you have to really look at what you're going to be using the M2 for. Is the car going to be a daily driver, or is it going to be more of a weekend performance car for you? If this is your weekend car, you have to look at what you're going to be doing with this car. Are you going for long drives? Are you going for windy, twisty, enthusiastic thrashing around of your BMW M2? What are you using this car for? Because if you're going to be thrashing this car around and you're going to be going down windy, twisty back roads amongst these beautiful fall leaves. Let me turn on my camera here and let me see if I could capture a little bit of the leaves. Not really, as I'm going to red light. Can't really capture them all that well, but are you going to be driving amongst this, or are you going to be driving, just down the highway, going for a nice long GT cruise? That is really important with deciding whether you want a manual transmission or a DCT. The DCT is if you want a very aggressively shifting sports car. That is really the difference. And I've said this in just about every video where I've compared the M2 in the dual clutch versus the manual. The DCT transmission makes this car feel like a premium sports car, whereas the manual transmission with shifting makes it feel like an enthusiast car. That is the difference. And that is really where you have to decide whether you're buying for daily driving purposes, a DCT or a manual. Because if you know that you're gonna be using the manual to thrash this car around on the weekend, how does it drive in day-to-day driving? Because typically, most people prefer not to have a manual, and I'm not talking about the hardcore enthusiasts that say manual over every single thing in life. In general, people don't like manual transmissions for daily driving because you have traffic. It's not really all that fun and engaging because where are you gonna go? You can't really shift, you can't do anything fun with it. You're just driving down a back street like this on your way to get coffee. It's not all that exciting. So naturally, people are gonna gravitate in those kinds of situations to automatic type transmissions. So your basic automatic with your torque converter, maybe your CVT, which I never recommend anybody buy a CVT. It is the worst thing in the car world. But anyway, that's besides the point. Maybe you'll get a dual clutch, something along those lines. But that's usually how it is though. People don't want to play around with manual transmission if they know they're going to be sitting around in traffic. Let me just turn on my glasses. Look at these beautiful leaves. Like, we're going on such a beautiful fall drive, guys, to the coffee shop. And that is really where this manual is nice. I'm going to this coffee shop, driving my manual transmission BMW M2 on this gorgeous, crisp fall day. And that is phenomenal. So let's talk about the dual clutch transmission, because I did own a BMW M2 with a dual clutch for about a month before that car got totaled. I had some experience with daily driving that car. It is an automatic in that it will automatically shift gears for you, but it is not an automatic transmission in that it is a dual clutch transmission. It has completely different properties. It shifts completely differently. And honestly, even though it is essentially an automatic transmission, I don't find it all that fun for daily driving. I did love the dual clutch transmission. I think they are so cool, so fast, but I think that is really for more of, like I said, that premium sports car feel where you really want speed. You want to tackle every turn in like the fastest way possible. You want to lightning quick go through those gears. You want to get on the highway, you want to rip it, boom, boom, boom. For daily driving, the DCT kind of sucks. The issue with the DCT is it's very kind of clunky and janky. It doesn't drive the most smooth. Like, you could get a smoother drive with a manual transmission than you can with a dual clutch transmission. Because especially at low speeds, the dual clutch transmission is very jerky. If you put in Sports Plus and you're just inching forward, it's gonna literally be doing this to you. It's gonna be bobbing you back and forth, back and forth. It has two modes, either stop or go. That's it. In comfort and in like the first level of sport, it's not as bad, but it just doesn't like slow speeds because it doesn't know whether to have the clutch engage, disengage. It doesn't know what you want. The manual transmission, you're in full control of that. For daily driving, get the manual transmission, because even though you may sit in traffic a little bit more, it may not be as enjoyable to shift all the time, you will get a much smoother experience from the manual transmission. So if the manual transmission seems to be better in just about every single case, why would you at all consider the dual clutch transmission? If for enthusiastic weekend driving, you want the manual. If for daily driving, you want the manual, why would I want the DCT? So that really goes back to what I said again about it being more of a premium sports car. If you really want to be just ripping this thing to like its full potential, that's when you really want the dual clutch transmission. If you just want enthusiastic spirited driving occasionally with that kind of very analog feel that this car has, you're gonna want the manual transmission. But if you really want to just get the max performance you can out of this car, you're going to want the DCT. This car is phenomenal with the DCT. Don't let this video sway you from the DCT because it is really, really good. It is honestly a monstrously good transmission. Because when I did have the dual clutch transmission, what I did love doing is really going on those same spirited drives, but it's a different feeling. It feels more like you're driving an exotic or something like that, where you got the flappy paddles with the dual clutch transmission, instant shifts. It's like you're driving a 458 Italia, just banging through the gears. It has more of that kind of a feel to it, which is really cool in its own way. It's just then when you take a step back and you realize that you're in a BMW M2, you're like, all right, is this car is not meant for that. This car is meant to be enthusiastically driven with the 6-speed manual transmission. Because two, it has 365 horsepower. It has enough power that you can use all of the power some of the time. You're gonna be able to really enjoy that with a manual transmission whenever you do want to drive it in a non-daily kind of a way. I know I'm kind of running back and forth with all my thoughts in this video. DCT manual, it's kind of all over the place, and there is a lot to kind of go back and forth with. And look at this view. Like, this is really what being a car enthusiast is about. We're going on our way to get a nice coffee on this beautiful crisp day. Look at these leaves, guys. It is absolutely beautiful. I have the manual transmission here. You have other car guys out. You just had a WRX and it looked like a Type R behind them. All the car enthusiasts are out, guys. So we are just having a beautiful cruise, and that is really what having a manual transmission is all about. I'm, for all intents and purposes, really daily driving this car right now. I'm not ripping it around. I'm not trying to get the most performance out of it. I'm just enjoying the drive with the manual transmission. So to really sum up this video, get the manual transmission if you're planning on daily driving this car, because it's a lot less jerky. It's gonna be a lot more enjoyable. And then when you do want to really bring this car out and get all the max enjoyment out of it, you can do that at any point in time. Whereas the dual clutch transmission, you'll be able to enjoy that dual clutch transmission occasionally and really, bang through those gears. But then when it comes to actually daily driving it, you're not gonna have the most fun because it's a jerky transmission. It only really likes to either stop or go. It doesn't really like this in-between nonsense of, let's sit in a traffic jam, let's inch up a couple inches, let's stop, let's inch forward a little bit more. It doesn't like that at all. Nonetheless, like I said, don't let me sway you from getting the DCT. The DCT is absolutely phenomenal. I loved the dual clutch transmission in my previous M2. The only reason I had the dual clutch transmission and then went to the manual is because after I totaled the first M2, I had the opportunity to get a manual, which I've never actually owned. So I'm like, you know what? Perfect opportunity. Let's do it. Let's jump into the manual transmission and give it a go. And I'm so glad I did. This car has treated me so well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, even though admittedly, again, this video is kind of all over the place. It was very difficult to really get my thoughts in order for this video, but do leave it a like, subscribe if you want to see more videos from me, and make sure you guys check out my website, drivewayjourney.com, where I have some shirts, merch, and stuff like that encourages us as car enthusiasts to talk about our journeys from our first keys to our dream driveway. So talk about the cars we one day want to own and will own. That's what it's all about, guys. Make sure you check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time.